Well, it's time for our regular gender reveal segment with Kirralie Smith of the biological truth advocacy group Binary. Kirralie, welcome. Kirralie, a group of nurses in the UK have filed a complaint about a male identifying as a female lurking in their change rooms at work. Take a look.
It just makes me feel on edge. You're coming into work, you're scanning the changing room before you start to undress. It's just uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
What's going on, Kirralie?
I think it would be more than uncomfortable. It's absolutely disgusting that this male, who, mind you, it was reported is trying to get his girlfriend pregnant. So I don't know how a female gets another female pregnant. So he's clearly a male. He's in the change rooms identifying as female. 4 nurses have made a complaint in the UK about this, and they were told that they just need to be more inclusive, to be educated, to change their mind about it, which is just beyond comprehension, Lyle. I'm running out of descriptive language.
Did I read somewhere that they have to be re-educated? I mean, this is Orwellian. This is what the Soviets used to do to people.
100%. And this is what's happening right around the globe, including here in Australia. You and I, are fighting cases in this realm as well. But this is what corporations are doing. They're telling women that they should, and this is in light or just on the back of this Me Too movement that went global a few years ago in Hollywood, where we were told to believe all women and that women are being sexually assaulted and are being oppressed in many, many ways. But now all of a sudden, if a male says that he's a woman, we have to believe the male and disregard the feelings and the experiences of women. And for these corporations, for these industries, for these politicians to write these laws where women have to put aside all their feelings, their experiences, their trauma, their fears for the sake of these men's feelings is absolutely and utterly absurd and dangerous for those women, because he shouldn't be in a place where women are changing, where they require privacy, and for the dignity of those women themselves as well. And this is coming from a healthcare department. We're supposed to believe them when they tell us, whatever it is, but they're blatantly disregarding the biology that it's all based on.
Well, it's why we do this segment every week, Kirralie, because examples like this turn up every single day. We can't keep up with it in a weekly spot, but good on these brave nurses in the UK for speaking out, and surely at some point common sense has got to hold sway. Kirralie, also this week, tennis legend Martina Navratilova, she's been outspoken in defence of women's sport, but other voices are starting to join her.
Yeah, look, she's been such a champion on and off the court when it comes to this topic, Lyle. For years, she's been a voice in the wilderness in the tennis space, but she has inspired others to now speak out. Another former tennis player and British UK commentator, Sue Barker, has joined the fray, and she has said that this is not fair for women's sport. 2-time Olympian Daley Thompson has also backed Martina in these things, as has the culture minister, Lucy Fraser, her name is. And so it's really good, because courage does beget courage. And the more people who speak out, the more people will speak out. And you and I have both had a lot of people say that to us as well, as we've spoken out here in Australia. But it's wonderful when someone with a global reputation, a legend like Martina, is so steadfast. She's not transphobic. She's a lesbian herself, and she is clearly stating the fact that women's sports needs to be for women only. And so good on her, and good on these other people who are starting to speak out. Let's hope that many others follow suit.
Yeah, well, speaking of women's sport, you and I have spoken often about women's soccer here in New South Wales, and this team of 5 biological males, the Flying Bats. There's been some mainstream pickup of that through Ben Fordham and Lucy Zellick, but there's been some further developments this week, hasn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So last weekend, the Macquarie Dragons forfeited against the Flying Bats, and this weekend, the Putney Rangers are also forfeiting. And this is the only recourse these teams have now. It's really beyond comprehension that they even have to do this, because North West Sydney Football and Football New South Wales are refusing to protect women's sport. They are protecting and promoting the men in those teams, and these women are just getting humiliated week after week. The Flying Bats are now on top of the ladder, and they just are undefeated. They're ahead by something like 15 points on the ladder. It's beyond a joke now, Lyle, and good on these teams, these clubs, for standing by their women. Let's hope that more teams also have the courage to do the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's good that they are having the courage to forfeit, and hopefully that'll bring this to a tipping point. Kirralie, earlier in the show I had the US detransitioner Chloe Cole, 19 years old. Our viewers will be familiar with her story. But the Tasmanian Liberal Government Health Minister, Attorney General Guy Barnett, is finally taking some action. He's raised the need for a national inquiry into youth gender clinics, the sort of clinics that have damaged the likes of Chloe Cole and so many Australian young people. This is a good first step, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. For someone at that level of government to call for this kind of inquiry is very encouraging, and he has called on his federal counterpart, the Health Minister Butler, to look into this and to, what are they afraid of, Lyle? If they are so convinced that this is the correct pathway, then they've got nothing to hide. But we know they have a lot to hide, and Chloe's story is so tragic, so disturbing to hear, and her story unfortunately is repeated over and over and over again in the US, in the UK, and here in Australia. And so we need to do the right thing by these young people, by their families, have an inquiry, look at these practices, look at the irreversible consequences, and get best practices involved, and allow the medical practitioners to do what they know is the right thing, not the political thing in these situations.
No, that's right. My fear is, though, that whilst I'm thankful that the Attorney General in Tasmania, Guy Barnett, is a man I've had the privilege of knowing over the years. He's a good man. He's got good values. But it would have been great if his government could have taken action. They're a state government. They have authority, both legally and over the health department, to stop this sort of gender experimentation on children. But nonetheless, let's see what happens. But I fear that Mark Butler will just ignore this letter, and so will his Labor counterparts in the other states.
Yeah, look, I do agree with you, Lyle, but he's now come out on the record, so that gives the public the mandate to be able to really lobby that the Tasmanian government to do exactly what you said, and to do it themselves. They do have the authority, and so they've come out, they've stated that it is a concern, so now they need to follow through.
Yeah. Kirralie, you wrote to binary supporters this week reminding them that you're still facing 3 legal actions. Some of this is for misgendering biological males who claim to be females. Just update us on the status of your legal action, because I just really think that everyone needs to know that people in Australia, like you and myself as well, and many others, are being taken to court for speaking out against this transgender madness.
Yeah, look, this is a long and expensive process. It's been going on for 1.5 years now. I already defended myself in court against an apprehension of violence order. That was denied by the magistrate after a full hearing. The applicant in that situation is now appealing that, claiming that my actions in declaring that he is male is violence, which is utterly absurd and a waste of the court's time and my resources. And then 2 soccer players, male soccer players, have also filed vilification complaints against me in the Federal Court of Australia. And, we're still in the directions and motion hearings for those. So I don't have any hearing dates as yet. But again, I don't know these people. I have never been violent. I've never incited violence. I've never done anything other than speak the truth, that they are male and that they shouldn't be in female soccer competition. So it's really disturbing that we're at this point in Australia. I will go, the whole way in defending truth and standing for truth. But these politicians that have made these ridiculous laws that even allow these things to be heard in court, I have no words.
Crazy. Well, I think if these courts could only hear what Chloe Cole told us a moment ago, and that is to have compassion for people who are confused about their gender, as she was as a young teenager, but also to not shirk back from telling the truth. And that's exactly what you're doing. Kirralie, thanks again for your time this week.
Thanks for having me again, Lyle.